Welcome everybody to today's webinar, New in Splash, Manage Your Program at Scale with the Splash Library. I'm your host, Ali DeCastro, a senior product designer here at Splash, and joining me today is an all-star cast of Splash experts.
So we've got Library's lead project manager and my PM partner, Mike Siegel. And then all the way from Splash, Bulgaria, we have Zlati Iliev, and he is an engineering manager whose team played a huge part in bringing the library to life. And then there's someone who I'm sure you all know and love already, or many of you do, Zach Napolitano. He is part of our product marketing team, and he's going to be leading us through today's demo. Gentlemen, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Ali. In fact, I'm really happy to be here because we get to show everyone a new product our whole team has worked on really hard for months.
Right on, Zlati. Really exciting day because the library is a direct result from feedback we've gotten from customers like you. The product is going to make it so much easier to run an events program at scale. And today's really just the beginning because this is a new product and we're going to continually add to it.
Yeah, Zlati and Mike, you guys nailed it. Selfishly, I'm excited because I get to give the first official library demo. This is a product that I think is going to resonate with everyone immediately, both in terms of why it's valuable and just how easy it is to use. Thank you, Ali. Thank you, Zlati. Thank you, Mike, and all of your teams, because I know a lot of hard work went into this release. And I especially want to thank you, Ali.
Because I'm your favorite, right?
Of course.
No offense.
Well, I definitely share the excitement, and not just because my hair has grown about 3 inches since my headshot was taken, but also because today is going to be super fun. And like Zach said, what you're going to see today, many of our customers have been asking for a long time. So we're definitely listening to you, and we're so excited to share it. Before we jump in, we do want to take care of housekeeping. So with a large chunk of the world working online, Wi-Fi hiccups are totally a thing. So if that does happen and we do lose connection, we'll be back up and running in just a few moments, I promise. We've even got a contingency plan in case your host, lose internet. So don't worry, we've got you covered. And then for your viewing pleasure, you can also expand the presentation. We actually recommend it to get the most out of today's virtual experience. And then if for some reason you'd really prefer to just view this in Zoom, that's totally cute, cool too. You can just scroll down a little bit and there's a view in Zoom button on your screen. So a note about library access. Now, what you're going to see today, many of you are probably going to be asking yourselves, how can I get my hands on this? So if your Splash organization currently has access to our team manager feature, you'll automatically be able to use the library. Access will be taken care of for you already. And then if your organization doesn't have access to team manager, but you would like to get access to it, you can sign up for the beta program, and that link is right there on your screen. And finally, if you have any questions, we would love to hear from you. And we've left plenty of time for Q&A. So just locate the Q&A button in Zoom. And we prefer using that over the chat because a lot of times people see things in the chat. We've got a lot of splashers on the call, so they might be blowing it up with excitement. And we don't want your questions to get buried under all of that very exciting banter. So use the Q&A so we can get right to your questions and make sure that we address them. Okay, so let's get into it. Library allows you to manage your approved digital assets in Splash. And like we've said before, that makes it easier than ever to scale your event program. But before, we get too ahead of ourselves, we want to fully unpack it. And to do that, I think we should take a step back and look at the library origin story. And who better to tell us that story than the gentleman who pounded the pavement, speaking to our customers, gathering insights for over a year. I want to pass the mic to my boo, Mike. And Mike, can you tell us about the library origin story?
Thank you, Ali. I feel like it's actually been the whole 3 years I've been at Splash. I've been learning about this. You mentioned a few moments ago that library access is tied to Team Manager, and that's not by accident. Early this year, for those customers that have access to Team Manager, I'm sure you've been very excited that this is the first step that we are making to make it easier for our users to scale their events program. Team Manager lets Splash admin users fully manage who has access to Splash, what their role should be, and who they can collaborate with. The role piece here, it's critical. It means only certain users get access to advanced functionality. Think things like integrations or building your theme, while the vast majority of the other users can only create and edit their events. So the result of this is that admins have access to self-service tools for managing their Splash team, where event organizers, they have access to the exact tools they need for creating and managing events, so they're always successful. The big thing about this for us is we want to make sure our customers, we want to eliminate error and create Splash specialization by areas of expertise.
Got it. Okay, so if I can offer an example, as a Splash designer, I would have access to advanced design tools because it's my job to set up custom event templates for my team to use. But I wouldn't necessarily want, like Zach, no offense, to be uploading custom fonts or determining which colors are applied and where.
Bingo. And by the same token, Allie, we wouldn't want a creative specialist worrying about integrations, or your on-site specialist, your person that's there to like check people into an event. We don't want that person editing Zach's events. Team manager was a massive first step for enabling Splash teams to scale, but we realized that that's not alone. There's a lot more things we can do. Customers that I spoke to, it was over and over again. They would ask me if they could somehow assign everyone the right level of Splash access, but is there a way they can ensure all of their events that they create are integrated, that they're on brand, and that they're compliant, and not sometimes or most of the time, every single time. And that's why we made Library. Library is what makes that possible.
Nice. Thanks, Mike. Okay, so now that we know the origin story behind this creation, let's bring it into clear focus with a few more tactical details. So I know that this was a huge lift on the technical side. So Zlati, I want to ask you for a little bit of context around the big team effort that went into making this a reality for our customers.
I'd love to, Ali. So the library is where approved users can create and maintain their brand guidelines, their registration forms, and their custom themes. By approved users, we mean users who are either in the role of admin or creative specialist. An easy way to understand how the library works is that admins and creative specialists set up the approved assets, and then everyone else on the team can use them to create an event.
Nice. Okay. So once you're in the library, let's talk about the first product that people are going to access. And it's one that's near and dear to my heart. It's called Brand Library. So in this workspace, the admin or the creative specialist, and those are the two roles that you just saw on the slides and the ones that Zlati was talking through. Those folks can upload their brand logos, their font files, they can add their color codes and set up some simple rules for how all of those things should be applied. So by setting up the brand library, our customers can instantly make about 30 of our Splash themes look and feel like them without having to upload these assets individually to the event pages every single time. So yes, you heard that right. What you upload to the brand library will automatically populate every touch point on those Splash themes, the event page, the registration form, the emails, and the social card. And this is a game changer for maintaining brand identity at scale. It also opens up Splash's entire collection of themes for all of our customers. So if you've been a Splash customer for a while and you've been loving those Splash library themes, but you hate that you have to upload the assets, to every single page, that's no more. With the brand library, you can do it once and all of our themes will look like you. Now, as a designer working with the development team to bring the brand library to life, my understanding really only goes so far. And like I said before, I know this was a huge lift on the technical side. So Zlati, can you give us a few more details about how we were able to bring the brand library from design into delivery and give access to all of our customers?
Sure thing. So the brand library was a really interesting challenge. As you mentioned, not only does the brand need to be applied perfectly to every single event page touchpoint, like the website itself, the emails, the forms, basically everything. It needs to do so across all of the 30 plus Splash themes. So the user gets a beautiful branded event every time. This meant we had to build a tool that was smart enough to apply the right colors, fonts, and logos to every event element. We also had to work closely with our creative team to optimize all of our themes so they work with Brand Manager. Our product team gave us a major challenge with this, but we knew if we can figure it out, it was going to be a game changer for our customers and allow them to do so much more.
I definitely agree with that. And it's always, cool to get a look behind the curtain. In my previous 4 years here at Splash, I used to work on the Splash creative team that you're talking about, Zlati, the team that you consulted with to make sure that everything kind of lined up. And it was once our job to create themes for new customers. I can tell you a lot of hard work went into creating even just a single theme, and our team created thousands of them. So when it came to Brand Library, I was given the opportunity to completely rethink our product in a way that would unlock on brand design for every user, not just those with the budget to get this beautiful, bespoke, custom theme that Splash Creative would build. And what I love most about it, and you'll see this when Zach demos, is how easy we made it to use and how satisfying it is to upload a brand. And I'm not just saying that because I designed it, it was a team effort. But anyway, Zach himself told me that it only took him about 6 minutes to upload a brand the other day. So I'm really pumped to get into the demo, and I'm hoping that everybody, here on the webinar, including me, can see that in action.
I'm going to break that record today, Ali. I have a feeling.
I love it. I like the positive attitude you're bringing to today's webinar. Okay, so moving on, let's talk about the theme library, and that's the second part of our library release. And this feature isn't new, but now it's found a more natural home inside of the library tab along with brand. Mike, can you introduce theme library to folks who are new to Splash and maybe reintroduce it to folks who haven't seen it in a while or maybe just haven't spent a lot of time there?
Absolutely, Ali. The theme library used to be called theme dashboard. This is where a team's custom themes are created, updated. You can share them with people in your organization. It lives in a separate workspace from where you manage your brand. By custom theme, we mean a true unicorn, a one-of-a-kind custom template that can only be used by your organization. So this is a custom website design. You'll have custom content blocks, like speaker blocks. You'll have custom email templates from your invitation to your confirmation, and a custom RSVP form where you collect your RSVPs. Really, it's custom everything. Custom themes are really valuable because they put a fully packaged event template in the hands of your event creators. This allows anyone to create a best-in-class, on-brand, and perhaps most important, compliant event. And as Zach is going to show you later on, there are some very powerful tools that our admins and creative specialists will use in the theme library for managing and sharing themes with their organization. And for those in the audience who have custom themes already, what you're about to learn about Form Library, coming up next, it's going to make your themes a whole lot easier.
Mike, something you and Ali both mentioned was probably the most important concept we considered during our development efforts, is about how different types of users use Splash. There are the admins who set up the brand assets in the library, and the event organizers who get to use those assets. We wanted to create a world in Splash where admins can control their brand, data collection, and control compliance. In other words, make it super easy for their teams to be successful. We wanted to make it so the event creator, who has so much going on with their job, is able to log in and have a fun and easy experience. That's a lot easier when a team admin can set up the brand library or theme library with great templates. What's crazy is arguably the best development today is Forms Library, and we haven't even seen it yet.
Well, we're about to see it now because I think that that's a perfect transition. Form Library. So to quote my friend Zach here, what does he say on the intro to Splash? Just as opposable thumbs make us human, a registration form makes a website an event page. So I think what Zach means by that is your form is the most important part of your event page. It's how people decide to come to your event. So Mike, let's hear a little bit about Form Library.
I think that's right, Ali. The reason that users spend so much time making their event page and emails look great is so that people will RSVP using their form and ultimately come to the event. Forms, this is how our hosts collect information, understand how their events are performing. To me, I'm a little partial because I did help build this, but they really are the backbone of all integrations. And our customers use the same exact form on many different themes. So when I've been interviewing customers, when I talk to people, time and again, what I hear is that maintaining these forms across all of their event pages and all of their themes, some of our customers have dozens of themes, this has been one of the biggest pain points. And the reason why is because our customers had to make the same update over and over again super tedious, and it's also error prone. You make one little typo and now everything, your integration's messed up. So this is what Form Library came from. This is what Form Library was designed to do. It's to make it incredibly easy to control every single form in your entire program in a single top-level workspace. If you're on a team with many custom themes or strict compliance requirements, which at this point who isn't, then Form Library is going to make your life a whole lot easier.
Yeah, that's awesome, Mike. If I can jump in really quick, I will say that the Form Library is the type of enhancement that anyone who has ever been in charge of managing data, integrations, or compliance has been dreaming of. And yeah, let's start with compliance. That's a big one, right? The way hosts collect data now has legal ramifications, especially with GDPR. So we know every form on every event page has to adhere to their organization standards for compliance. And guess what? Those standards may change. In fact, they change all the time. So that means that our users need to be able to update every single live form on all their event pages and themes with a new checkbox, legal language, and do so as quickly as possible. The old way of doing it, where you're doing that manually across a global program, just wasn't sustainable. So the ability to update forms on every event page and templates in one place just eliminates that challenge. The next is data and integrations, the lifeblood of event programs. As Mike mentioned, an integration takes guest information submitted on the Splash form and syncs it back to your systems of record. So to do this right, it relies on mapping those questions on the form back to your CRM or marketing deck. So Form Library allows you to standardize all of those fields. So if you have forms in different languages, or if you're phrasing questions differently for different events, you don't have to worry about anything messing up. It just works behind the scenes seamlessly, clear, simple, stable, just the way we like it. And then for everyone's favorite, time saving and efficiency. Admins can update their forms for all their themes and future events by saving changes in a single workspace. And Zlati, to your point, think of how much time this saves somebody like me, an event creator. I don't have to try to reconstruct a compliant form from scratch. I don't have to wait for an integrations admin to set anything up for me. I don't even have to think about compliance or integrations. It just happens behind the scenes. So this is going to be something I think that if you look at it from a top level view, can save some of our customers literally hundreds of hours a year.
Wow. And Zach, I think we all know that time is the most precious commodity on earth, because once you spend it, you never get it back. So I'm sure our customers are going to love to save time. Okay, so I'm going to roll with these quotes today, and another one's coming to me. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The secret to all victory lies in the organization of the non-obvious." So what I love about the library is that we're giving the admins and creative specialists the opportunity to organize those non-obvious pieces so that their event organizers can get it done without having to think about that. So everyday users, they can focus their attention on what's most important to them, and that's creating a memorable event and getting people in the room, whether that's in person or virtually. So enough talk. Zach, is it demo time? Because I don't really know how much longer I can wait to see this in action.
Yeah, Ali, we have plenty of time for the demo, and we haven't had any questions come in just yet. They can come in, so I will take my time. If more come in, or if some come in, I'll speed it up a bit, but we have plenty of time for this. So the objective of the demo today, in under 10 minutes, I need to upload my brand guidelines, logos, fonts, colors, and all the rules for applying them. I need to share a custom event team with my full Splash organization, and I need to create a default registration form that is compliant for every single one of my events. Now, the brand I'm going to be demoing is one that I think everyone on the call is aware of. I wanted to make sure it wasn't, some esoteric brand. Their stock has gone up 700% since the start of the pandemic, and that is Zoom. Let's see if I can pull this off. Jumping in. All right, so I am in Splash. I'm in my events dashboard here. One thing I'm going to call out, if I go into Team Manager, you could see that I, in this case, the weekend, am an admin, which means I get to use all this library stuff. Whereas Zach here, the event organizer, gets to benefit from it, a point we've been hitting the whole presentation today. So coming back, I am going to jump into the library tab. Is to upload. And I am going to create. So I'm going to start with a dark logo, my brand, which is best practice here. You're going to want to use a transparent PNG. So we'll start with a Zoom blue, and now I'll get my light logo, which typically a white PNG. SVG format also works. As you can see, as soon as you upload, it populates to the right. That was the part I mentioned, Ali, or you mentioned when we talked about this being very satisfying. You could see your brand come to life to the right. Now for your fonts, you could upload up to 5 of these. I'm just going to do 3. Zoom uses a font type called Lato. So I'm going to start with the medium font, grab all the different font types, upload it, and name it here. That's going to be great for things like subheadlines, possibly buttons. Now we're going to do our Lato Light, which is great for our body text. And finally, we'll end with Lato Black. We're going to use that for all of our nice chunky headlines. Okay, so now that we've uploaded these, we start setting the rules or assigning them. So with Lato Black, as we said, we're going to apply that to our headline, and you could see what that looks like to the right. For medium, I'm going to apply this to subheadlines and buttons. And then for light, we will apply this to our body copy. Looking good. So now is the fun part, in my opinion, uploading the colors, because this is where the preview to the right really comes to life. So I am going to add 5 different colors here. And we're going to start with a black. Zoom uses like a bluish, blackish charcoal color. There you go. They also, of course, like many brands, have a white that they use for light colored backgrounds. They have an orange that they use for their primary call to action on buttons, and then a darker orange that is used for the mouse over on a button. We call that a hover state. And finally, as a additional accent, we'll set the iconic Zoom blue there. So now for black, we are going to apply this to dark text and backgrounds. For light, we'll apply that to light text and backgrounds. For orange number 1, we'll apply that to buttons. For orange number 2, we'll apply that to button hovers. And we will leave the blue unassigned because that's something we'll use sparingly. Brand to the right looks amazing. And remember what this means. It means when somebody in my organization creates an event and chooses any one of Splash's 30 plus public themes, this branding and all the rules we established will be automatically applied to every touch point. The registration page, the emails, the form, everything. Okay, there's my brand uploaded here. And speaking of forms, let's head into the form library. So my goal here was going to be to create an approved registration form for all my events. So by approved, we're going to typically mean it's going to have standard questions so that we're collecting consistent data and mapping those back to our integrations. And of course, our legal questions like an opt-in checkbox. So we'll keep this one really simple today. I'm going to add a question or two. We'll do, we'll start with company. That's a common one. We'll make that a requirement. We'll do job title as well. We'll make that required. And then of course, we're going to do a checkbox, and this will be the one that makes sure that the guest agrees to our legal language. So I approve all of Zoom's terms and conditions, something like that, right? And this also is going to be required. Really simple here. You get the point. We're going to save this. And now this form is in our form library under Zoom approved. Let's check that out. Now, the magic is to come in here, and you could set this as the default form for your organization. Again, when somebody chooses a Splash theme, this form will automatically be applied. Okay, so now let's go into custom themes. For this, I'm going to show you a gorgeous event page that my dear friend Ali, our designer, created for me. Thank you, Ali. So this is what we call a custom theme. It's got all of our branding, our fonts, but it's also got custom imagery. It's got my logos. It's got all these great default content blocks specific to my brand, in this case, Zoom. This is truly custom in every sense of the word. Even if we were now to look at the email templates, check out what Ali created for me here. All customized email templates for my brand. Beautiful and bespoke, to use a buzzword. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to return back to the event page touchpoint. And what Ali would do as the designer, after she feels that this theme is perfect and ready to go, she would come into the theme settings here. She'd give this a name, call it Zoom Tech Talk maybe. She can give me a description, and she could also select the event type. But the best part is she can upload a screenshot or thumbnail image for the actual library. So let me just go back into my folder here, grab that image. This will take a few seconds to load. It is a big image that I've created. There it is, beautiful. Hit Save Theme. And now if we navigate back a bit to the library and go into themes, it's there. So the most powerful thing a creative specialist or designer can do would be to come to theme options and share this theme. She could share it with me, the weekend, personally. She could share this with a specific group of users in the organization, or she could choose to share it with everybody in the organization so they all have access to it. Okay, so to recap really quickly, we set up our brand. We set up our compliant registration form and set it as the default form for everyone in the organization. And we saved out our custom theme. Now to speed things up, we'll treat this like a cooking show. Let's create an event. So I would go through the exercise here and call this, Zoom happy hour. Let me just update the URL. Select our event type for virtual. And what I'm going to do is not choose my custom theme, but I'm actually going to choose one of these grayscale themes here in the Splash Public Library. You could see that all of my brand guidelines here will be applied to whichever one I choose. So let me choose this. And then when we actually land on the event, you can see here that everything has been branded. You can see that in the little previews here, right? The event page touch point with my logos and colors, my share card, my confirmations. If we look under the hood at the emails, these are also nicely branded with default content. And I'll even, of course, give you one peek at that event page touch point because we know you want to see that. It's got that charcoal color mask. It's got my orange call to action. It's looking really good. So that's it. That's the demo. Hopefully that was useful. Hopefully you're excited to use it now. Ali, I did see a few questions come in when as I was demoing. So let's get into the Q&A segment, shall we?
Great. Thank you, Zach. Great job. Okay. So let's just go straight from the top down to the bottom. And Sarah Fitz asks, do only certain accounts have access to the form library? I only see brand and themes on my account. So I'm going to kick this one over to Mike.
Yes. So if you have Team Manager, Form Library will be turned on for you on Tuesday. If you do not, we do have a beta that you can sign up for, which I will put into the chat very soon.
Awesome. Excellent. Alrighty. So an anonymous attendee asks, can you add approved images to the brand library? And this is a great question. I'm going to take this one. So for right now, the approved images that you can add to the library are that dark logo and that light logo. But our team is still running discovery to assess how many of our customers are asking for images to be added. So as my good product manager friend John loves to say, is, we have to crawl before we can walk and walk before we can run. So basically anything that we put into Splash, we always validate it as a market need and as a customer need. So once many more customers like you ask for this, we'll be working it in as relevant. But right now we're looking at the release that we've just put out. So the short answer is images are not in brand library today, but we're listening to all of our customers to see how they're using it and see if that approved imagery need is there. And then if it is, we would look at adding it. So thank you for that question. Okay. So Tiffany Fan has another question about the form library. If a form is set as default for your form library, will the user still be able to additionally edit the form and add more question fields? So Mike, I'm going to give this one to you as well.
Yeah, I can take that. So really, it's up to you. You have a couple of options. Some of our customers really want these forms locked down and they don't want the event host editing them at all. So you have that option. What I most see is people utilizing what I call question locking. So you add a couple of questions, let's say your terms and conditions question, and as the admin, you lock that question. That means only you can edit that question or remove it. Just make sure that everyone that RSVPs to your event has checked that little box, agreeing to your terms and conditions. But the event host can add any questions specific to that event as they see fit. Let's say they're throwing an event where they are giving away a t-shirt. They can add the question, ask for that t-shirt size. That's what I see most people do. Nice. So long-winded answer to say, yes, they can.
Yes, they can. And the world is your oyster as it relates to how they can. I like that. Okay, Sarah Fitz with another good question about branding. Sarah, you must be a brand overlord or a designer or something. Nice to meet you. Okay, so what if you have two different logos? Now, I'm assuming that you're talking about different logo orientations, like a wide logo, a tall logo, and things like that. So the answer to this question is really similar to the image question. For right now, for the first release, we're doing a light logo and a dark logo for, to apply across all of those 30 Splash themes that are in our library. But what you can do is if you wanted to create a custom theme with different logos in place and hide them as hidden elements, you could certainly do that. But for right now, we're doing just one logo of each type and then, putting this release out there. And then as we are with the imagery, listening for signal that additional orientations are needed to apply, globally across the whole collection of themes. Okie dokie. So those are all the questions that we have in the Q&A. So let me just double check the chat to make sure that none got buried there. It looks like we're good. So yeah. All right, so those are all of our questions. Thank you so much for joining today. This was really, really exciting, and we're so excited to share all of this with you. So remember, if you want access to this and you don't have access to Team Manager, because remember, library is linked up with Team Manager, you can go to splashnet.com/product/library-beta, and that link is on your screen. So again, thank you so much for joining, and best of luck with your event program.